Hello, thanks for tuning to my channel. My name is Eric Kandler and I'll be talking today on a very powerful topic, which is the prophetic destiny of Africa. This is the 1st of March, and if you remember, the month of February is celebrated as the Black History Month. But the question is, why on earth would it be the month of February? There are 12 months in a year. There are some months that have 30 days and others that have 31 days. If there should be a month where there's going to be a conversation about the African people, why on earth must it be the shortest month of the year? And that's why I decided that I'm not just satisfied with having a month where I can talk about African consciousness. African consciousness should become a daily business. It is something that when we give birth to a child, we start to tell that child who we are as a people, where we are coming from, and where we are heading for. If you do not know who you are, others are going to tell you who you are not. And if your definition of who you are is based on other people's perception of who you are bound to settle for self-devaluation. And that is exactly the plight of the African people. All we know about ourselves is what others have told us. They've come up with different theories. Like we are monkeys, we live in trees, we are descendants of the monkeys, we look like monkeys, and they go out to treat us like monkeys. Others tell us we are a cursed people because we have been cursed by Noah, and that is why we are bound to be slaves to all the other nations. A lot of falsehood about the African man, and that is why I think it is our duty, our responsibility to redefine the African man, to help us know our identity as a people. Be you an African in America, in the Caribbeans, in Europe, or all the other parts of the world. Those that were transported by slave trade and slavery, those that have just simply gone to the West in search of a better living. And you need to know who you are. Why is it very, very important to know who we are as a person or as a people? One, as it is with people or nations, or as it is with people, nations and continents have a purpose, a divine purpose and a destiny. To maximize our destinies as a people, we need an understanding of our role and placement in God's agenda. Secondly, beside knowing our destiny, our purpose and our placement, we equally need to know who we are, because if we don't know who we are as a people, we will settle for less. Psalms 49 verse 20. I want to tell you that most of my arguments are all going to be based on the Bible. Most of it is going to be coming from the Word of God, because there is no historical document as authentic enough as the Bible to give us a clear definition of who we are as a people. Psalms 49 verse 20 says, a man who is in honor yet does not understand is like a beast that perish. A man who is in honor yet does not understand it is like a beast that perishes. And that seems to me like the problem of Africa. We have been called unto great honor, but the problem is that we do not know it. A lot of Africans don't understand the fact that we've been called into great honor. We don't believe that we are key players in God's agenda, that we are a chosen people, a special people to God. We have always been in God's plan. We are presently the focal point in God's plan. And God's end time agenda will not culminate without the full participation of Africa, without Africa attaining unto the fullness of its destiny. Without Africa maximizing its destiny, the world will not be what God ordained it to be. Therefore, it is our duty and our responsibility to take time and decipher the prophetic destiny of Africa, so that we can begin to fulfill our role, so that we could rise up to the challenge of the hour as leaders whom we've always been, people who were created for leadership in the consortium of nations. We can take our rightful place and steer the divine agenda as God has ordained it to be. Man that is in honor and understanding. Going back to the issue of 28 days in a month. Why February? I begin to feel like, I always ask now, they have an International Day of the Woman of 365 days in a year. They want women to be satisfied because there is a day that has been consecrated for them. As good as that sounds, I still see it as some kind of domination, manipulation. It's like the slave is beginning to gain some consciousness, but you don't want to give freedom, so you go into some kind of bargain. Let me just give them a day out of 365 days. Let me just give them a month, and on giving them a month, let me give them the shortest month, the month of 28 days. We will not settle for less. This conversation about African consciousness is not something that should be limited to 28 days. And that's why I choose to start it on the 1st of March. And I'll be talking on this topic for the rest of this year as God permits. The prophetic destiny of Africa. I'll be rounding up in 10 minutes. I just want this recording to be 10 minutes. Then after that, I'll be going in. I'll be delving into deeper issues in trying to expound on the prophetic destiny of Africa. Man that is in honor and understanding is like a beast that perishes. That is why we need to understand our placement. We need to understand who we are. We need to define ourselves before others come and tell us what we are not. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 16 says, a man who wanders from the path of understanding will rest in the congregation of the dead. Somebody who leaves the path of understanding. What must you do in order not to wander from the path of understanding? By constantly redefining yourself, by constantly checking your bearings, knowing where you are, and not letting others tell you who you're not. By not ever selling understanding, trading understanding. The book of Proverbs says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom. And with all thy gettings, get understanding. Because without understanding, you will stand under. Without understanding, you can never be outstanding. And this is the season, this is the time where this is the era of Africa. This is the century of Africa. And we can't afford to do it without understanding, because it takes understanding to be outstanding. Child of God, why not cue in the next video? Let me start to tell you who you are as an African. Thank you.